Hey, welcome to Realtime Workflows. I'm MX Bell. I worked on Deadpool and Wolverine, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, 1917, Hobbs and Shaw, Wheel of Time, Little Mermaid, No Time to Die, tons more. What you're going to get in the channel are my pro tips and how I use Unreal Engine to make films. So let's get started. Let's make some stuff. See you down the road. Hey, welcome back to Realtime Workflows with me, MX Bell, and we're going to do a question that I've had. I'm probably going to do this Mondays, I think. If you've got questions, you can put them to me in the comments. This one came in on LinkedIn, where you can also find me as well. And so it's from Steve Wilcox, who works in Previz, and he said he's curious to know how I would organize a project, say if I was going to be doing a 10-minute short film or a fully animated film in Unreal. Now, I don't know if Steven knows when he asked that, but I did actually do that very same thing. I did make a 10-minute animated film entirely in Unreal by myself, and we're going to use that as a case study here to explain what I did then and what I would do better now. He also says, the other point is curious about long continuous stream, 3 to 5 minute scenes. For example, we have a long car chase scene and we want to add insert shots here and there, so we'll get to that as well. So let's start by dusting off Unreal Engine 4.27. The principles are the same because we're just talking about naming conventions really. And I'll have a look at behind the scenes in PRAZINBURK RIDGE. I haven't actually opened this project for a long time, which gave me a lot of errors. I'm not going to be doing it very often. I think it's on its last legs. But let's just see what we've got here. For a start, it's very dark now. I don't know what's happened there, but let's change this so we can actually, so we can actually see what we're doing. This is my level for PRAZINBURK RIDGE. If we look in our cinematics folder, which is, I tend to use cinematics because that's where the takes go. So if you record anything, it goes into takes. As you can see, I did record some, and I just put a sequences folder in there. In PRAZINBURK RIDGE, as we can see, I made, let's make these bigger, and shoot. So as we can see in here, it's a number for each scene of the script. So scene 5, and all the scenes in here, you can see what we've got in terms of shots. Now, I put all these in the same folder because I don't mind a little bit of mess. If you're a little bit more, I've got OCD, don't get me wrong, but I don't have OCD about this. But if you've got OCD about file organization and stuff, then you probably want to have a folder per shot. I don't give a shit, because normally if I was looking for shot 50, let's say 505, if there's a 505, there's a 505, I would just put 505 in there and find the right files. So that doesn't bother me, but if that freaks you out, you'd use some folders. But so 500 is the first shot of the thing, and I numbered them up in 5s purely because I did this, because 05 is also the scene number in this naming convention. That only left me with the other 2 digits to give specific shot names to. That means I went up in 5s, and I went up to, let's say, 525. Ordinarily, I'd like to go up in 10s. If I were to do this again, I think what I would do, if we were to make a new one of these, if I were doing this again, I'd go new folder. Let's say I was making a sequence 17, right? So we go PBR 17, that's all fine, start scene 17. And then in here, for each of these, I would go level sequence. I would go PBR 017. I would give it 3 digits for the scene number, because like in my feature film, we've gone up to 100. I wouldn't have thought you'd go to 1,000. So 3 digits for the scene number, and then I would probably go 010 for the shot number, and then version 1. So 3 digits for the scene number and 3 digits for the shot number, I think is fine. I would probably do that. So that's how I would have it looking if I did it again now, because then I wouldn't be so worried about using 5s, increments of 5. I could do increments of 10. But what you can see in 05, for example, so anything that's not a 5 or a 0 shot numbers are ones that I added. So you see 502 was one that got added because I was inserting shots here and there. 503, there's a 507 there. 508, it's a 509, a 510. There's a 512. You can see how many shots I was adding, and I didn't have enough shot codes, so I was using these. I was getting quite granular with them, getting down to 1s and 2s when I didn't need to, because I could have gone from 10s, if that makes sense. So hopefully that does make sense. Let's get on to the second part of Steve's question about doing a long scene. If we see here, I have a lead truck approach folder. So this is a scene that I recorded And we'll see here, it's got this truck approach, and it's 30 seconds long or something, right? So it's a long, you're not going to follow it in one shot. And this could be, if let's say this was a car chase and you've got all this action blocked out. Now, I advise against blocking out a car chase and doing the entire car chase. I've worked on a very famous car chase franchise, which I won't name, but you fucking know which one it is. And one of the things they like to do in previews, which I think is the incorrect way to do it, is they have the previous team animate the entire car chase and then they put cameras in, and that's wrong. Don't do that. That's an insane way to burn money. You don't need to do that. You might have a rough version of it. Let's say you might have, like, this is a rough version, right? So there's a rough version of this truck approaching the sort of mud bridge and going up to the thing, but it's not. I don't need to stick to it for every shot, right? Let's say you've got a car chase and you've done a rough out. We'll call it an overview, right? So we do an overview, and it might be that you just have two cars driving around. They're on a path. There's nothing spectacular about it. No animation, just cars on a path, just so we can see their routes. Okay, that is fine. That's perfectly acceptable. That would be the first step, because you want to know roughly where you're going to be. But when those cars that are on that path pass let's say they pass a certain point, and you're going, I'm going to put a camera in there, and they're going to go. Create that shot individually. You don't need to worry about having the entire. It doesn't have to be part of the entire process. That's daft. That's a daft way of doing it. Animate it for that shot. Do it for that angle, because what you're going to do, if you animate the entire car chase, right, and you put a camera down to get that thing, it's not going to be as good as you want that shot, because it's like a house of cards. It's built on the idea that it has to be one piece of action for every camera angle, and therefore every camera angle is never going to be as good. Every shot's never going to be as good as it was as if you just had that shot on its own, so that you can move anything in that shot. Each shot is a painting, right? You want to be able to put anything that's in that shot. You need to be able to push it further away from camera, pull it further, move it around, change its timing, change everything. And you can't do that if that animation is also feeding 20, 30 other shots. It has to be relative to this specific shot, all right? So while you might have an overview of where the cars are going on for your car chase, you don't need to. You don't need to animate it all. You don't need to be using it to drive everything. Just figure out what the shots are, and then create each shot individually the best shot you can do. And I've done that. I can't show the thing. I think it's still under NDA. I did do a really cool car chase in Unreal, and I've got it here, but I don't think I can put it up because it's under NDA. But I did that. I worked out where they were all going. We worked out the route. And then every time I needed a shot, I just generated one, and I used Rush Hour, which is a great plugin. There's also the Car Rig plugin, things like that. They're really good. I really like Rush Hour because I like simulated cars. I like to see and I don't like animating them. So that's what I would do. And a simple overview, get them following a path at roughly the right speed. You can use my speed tools to measure the speed in the Viz tools at the link below. And yeah, that's how I would do it. I wouldn't bother. So, for example, here, what I would do. So, you've got your. I did talk this through in another video as well, and I'll link that there. This is the subsequence video. But let's say you were going to create a new one of these. Let's go to our 17. Let's say we were going to do it in here. So 17. I'm going to add a subsequence track. It's called subscenes in this, and then we go. I think it's approach. Leaf truck approach. So now we've added that. Let's change that to 24 and set this to be. It was about 1500. So that's now a subsequence, right? It's the same thing. It's a subsequence. So we could go in and we could put a camera in here. So here we go. So stick a camera in. Okay. Not very. Doesn't have to be very. This is literally one of the scenes in the film. One of the shots in the film, right? So the camera's in, right? And I had, if you remember in the film, there's actually a few of these, and this is how I did it. I just did another one of these. Add, approach, and just offset this. So there's another one. Right, here he comes. And then you just animate your camera, transform that. Something like that. It's literally a shot from the film, I think. So it does that. Okay. Now, if that was a car chase and you've got the other ones, you want to be able to move I might want to be able to bring him closer this way for this camera. I might want to have another thing happening elsewhere. So at that point, then you're going to go, actually, all right, this can't be a subsequence for the hero because I need to move him, right? So there's a few options, but one of them is to just come in here and just grab it, copy, so copy, and then come back out and go paste. And now you've got one that's fresh. It's on its own layer. In UE5, you can move this layer around exactly like you can these. So you can get rid of this one, and now this one lives inside your specific shot, and now you can move him. You could add an additive transform, and so additive transform, and then here it is. And whenever I add an additive, I tend to lock this one, locked, and then in here so now you could add. So you want to push him further that way, and we can add a keyframe on it, and now he's further over there, only in this shot, not in the others. And that's the way I would approach it. I don't animate the entire thing. Know what your shots are, because that's real storytelling. The real storytelling is knowing exactly what the shots are that you want, but you also want to give yourself the opportunity to discover shots as well. So yeah, I would do the outline, figure out what the shots are, and if you get any good ideas from the outline, you just bin that outline and then create the shots that are in the outline overview. So create your overview, and then doesn't have to be nicely animated, and specifically don't spend time animating it. Just have them literally follow a path around with the chase route, so you know where you're going to be where they're going to be at roughly the right time. If you wanted to use the timings, so that if they get to a certain point at frame 2000, and maybe that shot takes place at frame 2000, just so you've got everything laid out in case there's any subsequences where you might have explosions going off and they're timed at the right things like that. But generally speaking, don't animate the entire thing, just animate the shots that you need. And I hope that helps. So yeah, any other questions, let me know in the thing, or on LinkedIn, or fucking anywhere you can find me, and I'll try and get to them. Some of them I'll add to my list of they're going to be lessons, and some of them I'll just do a kind of an informal kind of episode like this. All right, so cool. I'll see you guys down the road.